Aside from the idea of the existence of God, I want to ask the question, where did the idea of God come from? Today I want to talk about two different origin theories for God and suggest that both are true, and it's important that we hold both together. And to think about these two different ideas for the origins of God, I want to rely on an 8th century Muslim mystic and an 18th century philosopher. So before I do that, let's think about the two different origin ideas. One origin idea is that as societies became more complicated and larger, the idea of social control through relationships became more and more impossible. So you've got a village of 150 people who all know each other, then you can keep people in line in terms of the social mores, in terms of shared values, because everybody knows everybody and everyone can see what everybody is doing. And so as societies became bigger, it became impossible for people to be able to see what each other were doing and make value judgments and punish and reward and hold those relationships. And so the idea of God developed as a way of being able to see everyone all the time and know what everyone is doing without actually being there. In other words, because society couldn't be in all the places to judge and punish people, God was invented to do that for us on our behalf. Our modern equivalent would be CCTV cameras everywhere. You don't quite know where they are, but you do get a sense that you're being watched all the time. And this is where my 18th century philosopher comes in, Jeremy Bentham, and his invention of a prison system called the Panopticon. So a Panopticon is a prison, as it suggests, pan everywhere, opticon can see. And the prison was cleverly designed so that it had the minimum number of prison guards to prisoners. And the idea was that the guard couldn't see all the prisoners at the same time, but the prisoners could never see where the prison guard was looking. So the prison cells were arranged in a circle around a central area where there was a sentry. And prisoners didn't know when they were and were not being watched. And what they found with this system was when people don't know when they're being watched, but know they might be being watched at any time, they behave as though they're being watched the whole time. And so God operates like Jeremy Bentham's prison in this model, like a panopticon, like an all-seeing rewarder and punisher. And then our morality becomes based on reward and punishment. And that's a challenge. Like, even if you believe in a God who rewards and punishes, even if you believe that, it does leave you with that dilemma, not knowing what your true motivation is for your good deeds. And this brings us to my 8th century Muslim mystic. By the way, if you are enjoying this video, please check out my channel afterwards. You can see other videos on post-church ideas, on ideas to do with spirituality and social change for people of all faiths and good faith. Rabia al-Basri, this 8th century Muslim mystic, said, "I carry a torch in one hand and a bucket of water in the other, because I want to set fire to heaven and put out hell." And the idea, of course, is that she wants to get rid of the whole system of reward and punishment. It's an interesting challenge that she brings. One origin story of God, then, is the idea that God developed as a way of controlling people's behavior. But there's another possible origin story. And to know about that, we need to look at Kali, a god whose cult and sect is in Calcutta, and whose worship and veneration really developed during British colonialism. Quite a violent image of God, a god of war, a god of violence and retribution, developing at a time when people were really oppressed. There's this other origin story of God, God being a response to injustice and oppression. The idea that local gods of pantheons, are grassroots projections of human desire to be free, to be liberated from persecution, from oppression. And it's possible that those two ideas of God developed together. God that controls and God that resists control. And it matters because we continue to want to resist, we continue to want to work out our morality, and to work out where ideas of God might be useful in that, because to me it's less important, the idea of, is God real, since we cannot really know that, or even if we did, what God is, but rather, are ideas of God useful? Are they liberating? Do they inform and create a better world?